Los Angeles, California, January 1971. In a small, unassuming apartment in the east of the city, the telephone rings. The man who picks it up is 170 tall, weighs 61 kg, and moves with a precision that few could ever match Yvonne with decades of training. He is 28 years old, nearly broke, unknown outside a tiny circle of martial artists and fans of a TV show canceled 2 years ago. Yet he possesses something far more powerful than money or fame. He has a vision. On the other end is a television executive from Warner Brothers with a proposal for a new series, Kung Fu, a wandering Shaolin monk in the American West. Perfect for him. He created the concept. He pitched it. He shaped the character, the philosophy, and a fighting style unlike anything ever seen on American television. He listens closely. Then comes the news that will forever alter Hollywood, trigger a chain of events worth millions, and pit him against forces he will face not with fists, but with sheer will. They give the role to someone else. What happens next? Los Angeles, California, January 1971. In a modest flat in the east of the city, the telephone rings. Its shrill tone cuts through the quiet of the small apartment, echoing off the bare walls. Bruce Lee, 170 tall, weighing 61 kg, moves toward it with a precision that few could ever match Yvonne with a lifetime of martial arts training. Every motion deliberate, every step calculated. He is 28 years old, almost broke, and known only to a tiny circle of martial artists and fans of a television series canceled 2 years earlier. But despite his obscurity, Bruce carries something far more potent than money or fame. He carries a vision of what martial arts could be, how it could be portrayed, how it could transcend mere fighting to become philosophy, art, and power combined. The voice on the other end belongs to a television executive from Warner Brothers. Calm, businesslike, professional. The executive has a proposal, a new series called Kung Fu, about a wandering Shaolin monk navigating the challenges of the American West. On paper, the role seems ideal for Bruce. He listens intently, nodding as the details unfold. This is more than a television gig. This is an opportunity to redefine how martial arts can be seen by millions, to show the world not just technique, but philosophy, precision, and power in motion. Bruce Lee responds as he always does, with careful consideration. He developed the concept, pitched it, and spent months shaping the character, its philosophy, and the unique fighting style that would make the series unlike anything ever seen on American television. This was not acting. This was an expression. This was mastery. And he understood the stakes. Television had never fully embraced an Asian lead in such a central, heroic role. For a moment there is silence on the line. The weight of history presses down. Bruce's mind races, imagining the potential, calculating the risk, envisioning the impact. Every detail he had worked on, the character, the fighting, the philosophy hung in the balance. Then the words arrive. The executive delivers the news that will change Hollywood, forever altering the trajectory of Bruce Lee's life. The series, Kung Fu, will go forward, but not with him in the lead. They have given the role to someone else. Bruce listens. His eyes narrow. The room feels smaller. Every breath is heavier. Every second stretches. A lifetime of preparation, of vision, of belief meets this stark refusal. And yet, in the silence that follows, Bruce does not panic. Anger, yes. Frustration, certainly. But panic? Never. This is a man who has trained his body and mind to meet obstacles with focus, clarity, and strategy. Outside, Los Angeles hums on, oblivious to the pivotal moment unfolding in this small flat. The city, with all its glitz and opportunity, waits. The rejection might have ended someone else, but Bruce sees only the next move. Every obstacle is information. Every refusal, fuel. Every no is an invitation to prove the world wrong. Organized crime, betrayal, and the machinery of Hollywood may loom like shadowed giants, but Bruce knows the battle he will fight is not with fists. It is with will, vision, and persistence. He will redefine the rules. He will carve a path where none exists. He will ensure that no one ever again can underestimate the force of his presence, the discipline of his training, or the clarity of his purpose. And in that instant, Bruce Lee understands the truth he has always known. The role may have been given to someone else, but the storied legacy belongs to him. They give the role to someone else. What happens next? Hong Kong, New Territories, 1970. Before the phone call from Los Angeles. Before Warner Brothers. Before the promises of Hollywood. Raymond Chow, 41 years old, sits in his office at Shaw Brothers, the most powerful film studio in Asia. For 10 years he has understood the inner workings of Hong Kong cinema. Who gets filmed, who gets shown, who gets paid. He knows the limitations, the strict hierarchy, the ironclad agreements that control every aspect of the industry. But in 1970, Chow made a decision that would change everything. He resigns from Shaw Brothers, leaving behind security, influence, and comfort. He founded his own production company, Golden Harvest. The office is small, the budget modest, and the staff barely a handful of people. Yet every person there shares one belief. The Hong Kong film industry is on the brink of transformation, and the established studios cannot anticipate what is coming. Chow needs a star. Not just an actor who can deliver lines convincingly, not a familiar face to fill a role. He needs someone rare, a presence that transforms the screen, that makes audiences feel the authenticity of every movement. Someone who embodies the philosophy of martial arts, who carries weight beyond the dialogue or plot. He needs Bruce Lee. Lee is in Hong Kong to visit family, frustrated by the limitations of his career in America. The rejection from the Kung Fu television series has left a mark, but it has also fueled a fire. He is angry, ambitious, and determined to find a path where his vision cannot be contained. The meeting between Raymond Chow and Bruce Lee in late 1970 is quiet but monumental. Chow lays out the offer. 2 films, The Big Boss and Fist of Fury. A salary of $15,000 per film, a modest sum by Hollywood standards, but more than Bruce has earned in years of American television work. It is a small risk for Chow, but an enormous opportunity for both men. They shake hands, sealing the agreement without knowing the magnitude of what they are about to create. The films will not simply make money, they will redefine an industry. The Big Boss will shatter box office records across Asia. Fist of Fury will cement Bruce Lee's reputation as an unstoppable force. And within 18 months, Lee will become the most recognizable face in Asian cinema, while Raymond Chow will transform Golden Harvest from a fledgling studio into a formidable competitor to Shaw Brothers. Chow watches Bruce carefully. Every motion, every glance, every word conveys discipline and intent. He sees the frustration that comes from being underestimated, the quiet confidence that belies Bruce's small frame. He senses the potential for a presence that Hollywood has yet to understand, the kind of talent that cannot be replicated or taught. Bruce, for his part, is calculating. He understands the challenges ahead, not just the physical demands of the films, but the intricate web of distribution, production, and industry politics. He knows Shaw Brothers will not take this lightly. He knows the path is fraught with obstacles. Yet he also knows this: the opportunity to shape his destiny has finally arrived. The 2 men discuss the film's direction, the fighting style, the philosophy behind every sequence. Bruce insists on authenticity, on choreography that reflects real martial arts rather than cinematic embellishment. Chow listens, nodding, recognizing that he is not merely hiring an actor, he is partnering with a visionary. This partnership sets the stage for an unprecedented transformation. Hong Kong cinema, often predictable and formulaic, is about to be disrupted. A new standard will be set, one where martial arts, philosophy, and screen presence converge. The audience will not merely watch the films, they will experience them, feel them, internalize them. As they conclude the meeting, neither man fully grasps the ripple effect of their agreement. The $15,000 per film is merely the beginning. The real value lies in what Bruce Lee will bring to the screen: speed, precision, philosophy, and charisma. The films will travel across continents, breaking conventions, defying expectations, and ultimately influencing Hollywood itself. In that small office, late in 1970, 2 men shook hands over more than a contract. They shake hands over ambition, vision, and a shared understanding that they are about to change the history of cinema forever. And yet, the shadow of Shaw Brothers, the constraints of distribution, and the unpredictable tides of audience reception linger quietly, waiting to test their resolve. Every step forward will be met with resistance. Every success will invite scrutiny. But for Bruce Lee and Raymond Chow, the stage is set. The journey has begun. The films, the legacy, the transformation all start here. Los Angeles, the Golden Dragon Restaurant, Chinatown, March 1971. The private dining room is dimly lit, quiet, yet charged with unspoken authority. The men who sit around the table are not movie stars. They do not seek publicity or red carpets. They are businessmen controlling the flow of Chinese-language films across North America. From San Francisco to New York, from Vancouver to Toronto, every Hong Kong studio that wishes to screen its films must navigate the channels they oversee. At the head of the table sits a man whose name means nothing to the press, yet carries immense influence. He controls access to cinemas, distribution channels, and box office revenue streams. Shaw Brothers pays for this access. Every independent producer pays. Golden Harvest, still a fledgling company, has not yet understood the rules of this hidden empire. Raymond Chow, driven by his focus on production and creative ambition, has underestimated a fundamental truth. Distribution is everything. Without access, a film does not exist. The man at the head of the table places his teacup down carefully. His voice is quiet but decisive as he speaks in Cantonese to those around him. The message is clear. Golden Harvest will conform, or its films will be blocked in North American cinemas. There is no negotiation. It has always been this way. This is how the system operates. Bruce Lee's name is never mentioned. There is no need. Everyone in the room understands who the real force behind these films is. The big boss has not yet been released, yet rumors of Bruce Lee's skill, charisma, and the sheer spectacle of his film shoots have already begun to circulate. The threat is understood before it is voiced. If Lee's films reach audiences unchecked, Golden Harvest may disrupt decades of established control. Hong Kong, Golden Harvest Studios, May 1971. Bruce Lee does not react with aggression. Those who underestimate him assume that he will respond like a fighter, direct, immediate, overwhelming. They are wrong. His philosophy, honed over 20 years, is not about force meeting force. It is about patience. Water, he believes, does not attack the rock head-on. It finds the gaps, the places that resistance cannot defend, and over time it wears everything down. He begins making calls, quietly, strategically, not to lawyers, not to executives, not to the people who wield traditional power. He calls journalists, American journalists who write for publications with audiences unfamiliar with Chinese film distribution agreements. He calls academics who study Asian American culture. He calls civil rights organizations that have documented decades of exclusion in entertainment. Bruce Lee never mentions the threats. He does not describe the mafia-style controls or the powerful men in Chinatown. He talks about the film, Enter the Dragon, the philosophy behind it, the meaning of its martial arts, and the significance of an Asian man at the center of a Hollywood-style production, not as a background figure, not as exotic decoration, but as the undeniable centerpiece. The journalists listen. Articles begin to appear in June 1972, spreading quietly over 3 weeks. They are not cover stories. They do not create immediate uproar. But strategically, they accomplish something far more important. They establish a public record. Each article is a thread connecting the film to public awareness, making it increasingly difficult for distributors to quietly block the release. The men controlling distribution understand leverage. They know a film can vanish quietly if ignored, leaving no trace. But Bruce Lee's visibility changes the terrain. Each article, each mention creates a public presence that cannot be erased. Silence, which once allowed control, is no longer possible. Fred Weintraub, monitoring the situation from Warner Brothers, notes the subtle shift. Cinema chains that had been unresponsive are now reconsidering. Scheduling conflicts and prior agreements begin to dissolve, as the pressure of public awareness works invisibly yet effectively. Lee's patience, his strategic visibility, and his understanding of systems have altered the game before a single punch has been thrown. Los Angeles, June 1972. The first major distribution obstacles begin to fall. A once unreachable cinema chain called Golden Harvest with revised terms. The scheduling conflicts that had seemed insurmountable start to resolve themselves. Bruce Lee thanks Weintraub and then returns to training. There is no celebration. No pause. In Lee's philosophy, success is temporary and demands immediate attention to the next challenge. Every move, every phone call, every article is a carefully calculated step in a larger plan. Bruce Lee has changed the battlefield without confrontation. He has protected his films, Golden Harvest, and the legacy he intends to create. And he has done it in a way that leaves no marks of conflict, no violence, no public dispute, only the subtle, unshakable emergence of inevitability. The path forward is clear. The films will reach the audience. Golden Harvest will survive. Bruce Lee's vision will be seen. And the men who once believed they controlled the system will realize too late that they have underestimated the quiet force of a man who fights like water. Hong Kong, October 3, 1971. The lights of the city shimmer as morning breaks over the skyline, but the real spectacle is not in the streets, it is in the cinemas. The Big Boss has officially opened in theaters across Hong Kong. Long before sunrise, lines begin to form, snaking around cinema blocks. The early cues signal something unprecedented, but few outside the industry realize just how extraordinary this moment will become. Within 72 hours, the big boss shatters all box office records. The opening week gross is 3 million Hong Kong dollars, an astronomical figure that leaves even seasoned executives of Shaw Brothers stunned. They refuse to accept the initial reports. Representatives are sent to count receipts personally, verifying numbers that seem almost impossible. Yet Bruce Lee remains unshaken. He had anticipated this with the calm certainty of a man who knows the limits of skill, preparation, and human response. Lee's confidence is not arrogance. He has many things, but his self-assurance is grounded in reality. 20 years of rigorous training, physical, mental, and philosophical, have honed his awareness. Every punch, every movement, every frame captured on film is a testament to his dedication and understanding of human perception. Lee knows his ability not by hearsay or hope, but because he has tested himself repeatedly, exceeded limits, and emerged intact every time. The frenzy outside cinemas escalates. Police are called to manage the crowds at multiple locations. People push forward, desperate to witness the spectacle they have only heard rumors about. The energy is palpable. Word of mouth spreads faster than any marketing campaign. By the end of the first week, the big boss has made history. The film has not only captured an audience seat, has created one young and eager, ready to embrace a new kind of cinematic hero. Raymond Chow, watching from Golden Harvest Studios, understands the magnitude. The modest salary he offered Bruce Lee months earlier now seems infinitesimal compared to the revenues streaming in. Yet the figures are secondary to the revolution that has begun. Golden Harvest, a fledgling company barely a year old, has emerged as a true competitor to Shaw Brothers, challenging decades of industry dominance. Chow's gamble has paid off, but the full consequences have yet to unfold. Hollywood takes notice. Across the Pacific, executives at Warner Brothers receive the reports, numbers that cannot be ignored. Southeast Asia, North American Chinese diaspora communities, these are markets Hollywood had previously overlooked. And yet here is evidence that audiences exist, eager and willing to spend, captivated by a man who defies expectations, a man who cannot be ignored. Bruce Lee's focus never wavers. There is no celebration, no moment of rest. Success is not a destination, it is information. A signal to adapt, improve, and anticipate the next challenge. He begins considering Fist of Fury, the next project that will continue to solidify his impact. The momentum he has created must be maintained, amplified, and translated into influence that stretches beyond Hong Kong. Even as excitement sweeps through the city, whispers of Lee's accomplishments reach international circles. Producers, studio executives, and journalists begin to see the potential of an Asian star not as a sidekick or background novelty, but as the undeniable center of cinematic storytelling. The big boss phenomenon is not merely a box office triumph, it is proof of a larger truth. Bruce Lee can draw audiences, command attention, and transform expectations. By mid-October, the implications are impossible to ignore. Lines extend around theaters. Media outlets report on the unprecedented crowds. Rumors of Hollywood interest begin to circulate. Discussions of co-productions and global distribution ignite the imaginations of studio executives. Bruce Lee has done more than perform, has shifted perception, creating a tangible presence that Hollywood cannot dismiss. Every scene, every fight sequence, every expression captured in The Big Boss speaks volumes. Lee's combination of physical precision, charisma, and philosophical depth resonates far beyond martial arts fans. The film has become a cultural touchstone, a statement that the world is watching and that Bruce Lee is a force that cannot be contained. As the city of Hong Kong hums with excitement and anticipation, one fact stands clear. The Big Boss is not just a film, it is a phenomenon. And at its center stands Bruce Lee, calm, composed, and fully aware that the ripples of this success will soon reach across oceans, shaping his path toward Hollywood and global recognition. Hong Kong, July 1972. The set of Enter the Dragon hums with controlled chaos. Cameras roll, lights blaze, and crew members move with a precision born of experience. Yet, at the center of it all is a man whose presence alone reshapes the atmosphere, Bruce Lee. He does not merely act, he inhabits the space, infusing every movement with a combination of 20 years of martial arts mastery and a philosophical depth that few can comprehend. The production has already faced delay, 6 weeks lost due to distribution complications, but these setbacks are nothing to Lee. He sees obstacles as information, not defeat. Every challenge becomes a lesson, every constraint an opportunity to adapt. With Warner Brothers co-production and Raymond Chow's support, the $8 million project pressed forward, its scale enormous compared to anything Lee has previously encountered. Yet the real battle is not against opponents or choreography, it is fought on a different plane entirely. Bruce Lee's genius lies not in the force of his strikes alone, but in his strategic patience. Those who underestimated him assume he will react with immediate aggression the way one faces a physical opponent. They are wrong. Lee's philosophy, refined over decades, mirrors water, patient, adaptive, relentless. He navigates pressures from studios, journalists, and distribution networks with the same focus he applies to martial arts, quiet, precise, and unstoppable. Filming progresses at an intense pace. Every fight sequence is captured with an intimacy that Hollywood had never attempted. Robert Klaus and his camera team document Lee's movements not as choreography, but as a living expression of power, control, and conviction. Every punch, kick, and motion tells a story. Lee's energy conveys a message far beyond entertainment. An Asian man can lead a Hollywood film, command attention, and captivate audiences worldwide. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, Warner Brothers executives monitor progress. They have never witnessed anything quite like Lee's approach. He does not rely on legal threats, negotiations, or conventional studio tactics. He shapes the terrain itself, transforming obstacles into strategic advantage. Every journalist contacted, every academic and cultural advocate engaged, strengthens the film's visibility. By the time Enter the Dragon is complete, the infrastructure of opposition cannot block it, and no one can deny its importance. August 19, 1973, Los Angeles. Enter the Dragon premieres at Grauman's Chinese Theater on Hollywood Boulevard 26 days after Bruce Lee's untimely death in Hong Kong on July 20th. At 32, he would not witness the culmination of his vision, the massive queues stretching down the boulevard, or the debates and discussions ignited by the film. He would not see the record-breaking box office numbers, $90 million worldwide on a modest $850,000 production budget. Yet Lee's influence is evident in every frame. His philosophy of preparation, persistence, and strategic patience resonates through the film, guiding every action sequence and cinematic moment. The cultural impact is immediate. Enter the Dragon opens doors for Asian actors, challenges Hollywood conventions, and establishes martial arts as a global cinematic language. Lee's legacy is not merely in films or financial success, it is in the profound transformation of expectations, perceptions, and possibilities. The men who tried to prevent the film's release, businessmen, distribution controllers, and industry gatekeepers, are irrelevant. Their pressure tactics dissolve in the face of Lee's foresight, strategic planning, and unyielding commitment to visibility. No physical confrontation is required. The fight has already been won. Across the world, the influence of Bruce Lee endures. Every martial arts film, every action sequence, every Asian American actor stepping confidently into a leading role owes a debt to the path Lee forged. He trained in silence, fought unseen battles, and demanded authenticity in every scene, leaving a blueprint that transcends decades. The door he opened has never closed. 50 years later, his presence continues to inform, inspire, and shape global cinema. Bruce Lee's story is not only one of individual triumph, it is the enduring proof that preparation, vision, and relentless determination can rewrite the rules of an entire industry. The legacy of Enter the Dragon stands as the most eloquent answer to everyone who doubted him, a door that remains forever open, illuminating possibilities that once seemed impossible.